everybody. Welcome to Sunday Funday. Hello, hello, hello. This is James, CTX. We're just going to chill this morning. We are going to get a giveaway going. Where is it? Where's my, oh. Well, it says number 2, but we're going to run that one. Random item giveaway. We're going to do a giveaway. It's going to be one of our L'Oreal swag bags. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sunday Funday. This is CTX. We come in, we do a little show every week. We've been buying some more units this week, which we said we weren't going to do, and well, we did. So I got one of the biggest units I've ever bought. Luckily, it wasn't fully packed. It was a 10-foot by 40-foot unit. We're going to be live unboxing that one. 162 cases. We already eliminated almost a third of that just going through trash. So we are definitely here. Hello, hello. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. So, but yeah, we're cleaning out. We're moving stuff. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day. Uh, we are. We go live every week and just kind of have a hangout and chat. So if you're watching on YouTube, say hello. We have a giveaway going. It's a busy day today. There's a lot of streams, a couple of competition streams going on. We may not get very many people come through. Nobody shows up. We will cut it short. We got into an interesting raid train last night. I'm just going to ramble for a little bit. So it was kind of an impromptu raid train that came out of nowhere. And the Naked Maple, who's one of our friends we've made here as a seller, started a impromptu raid train. It basically she was struggling to make some sales last night. Hi, Melissa. And so she got in there and she started this raid train. And now it's just kind of a random shit show. But it was kind of fun and it's still going right now. We may write into them whenever we're done here. But basically, it's you go on, you sell one item, however long it takes you to sell one item, whether it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, whatever. And then as soon as you sell your first item, you rate out to the next person. And then it's just some people are going multiple times and getting back in the line, and some people are just showing up once. We showed up once last night. We sold an item last night, and then but it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was like ready to go to bed. So, but they're still going this morning. Yeah, we sold a Dale Earnhardt figurine. So it's been cool, though. It's been a cool little mishmash of a raid train. And yeah, Miss CTX is my wife, y'all. She's inside with Emily and Jesse. They're eating breakfast right now. But it's been a weird assortment. But doing that kind of thing, I like to do because it gives me exposure. Because it's like, yeah, I sold one item. Did I make money? Yeah, I mean, I made up a few bucks. But it was also about I got 20 new followers, and I just went on once, and the raid trains had anywhere from 15 all the way up to 50 or 60 people following it. So I do have some shows set up to go in there. So I'm going to be jumping back on that train after we finish the show, and we may be doing some selling over there. So this is a live Q&A question and answer show. If anybody has any questions about selling on Whatnot or storage units, I've been doing storage units for over 5 years. We've been doing Whatnot for about 4 or 5 months, and we've learned a lot in our time here. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We like to help other people. If it wasn't for other people answering our questions and giving us some advice and support, we wouldn't have made it to where we are. And sometimes I have a different perspective than some of the big sellers that do these live support shows because our experience may have been different than theirs. Y'all getting that giveaway? It's fixing to close. Got about 30 seconds left. So, hello, Meredith. Thank you for joining us. So, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll answer what we can. I am not an expert at whatnot or at reselling, but I have learned a lot basically from screwing stuff up and learning from my own mistakes. So, yes, definitely not. We are from screwing. What are you? What am I giving away? The giveaway. Hey, Melissa. We're giving away one of the L'Oreal bags. Auto correct. I've made tons of mistakes, guys. I make mistakes every day in my business, and sometimes I do things that are make me scratch my head later and think about it. But yes, if you put the 877 max shipping and say you're doing flat rate boxes, if they buy more than one box, you pay for all those extra boxes. It's 877 per box for the shipping for the flat rate shipping, and you pay that yourself. One of the things is Whatnot negotiated deals, so they get flat rate shipping at a lot cheaper rate. Anything over 2 pounds goes flat rate. Uh, so, and because it's the same price on Whatnot, if it fits in flat rate. In fact, that's part of where we hopefully get some money on that is if you can do some flat rate shipping. We don't do reduced shipping on our live unboxing shows because we can't control the weights and the sizes of the items we find. Um, when we do raid trains, when we do a more curated show where we're picking the items that we're going to show, then we sometimes do reduced shipping. Uh, where I look at it as even if the item's over a pound, if it's small, they'll fit into a flat rate box. We can do reduced shipping on those because we can fit multiple items in a flat rate. Remember, if you're doing flat rate, you can go up to 70 pounds as long as it'll fit in that box unmodified. Um, but that's the thing is you got to make sure. Do I weigh each item? Not usually when I'm doing live unboxing. Part of it's I'm pretty close at estimating the weights. Two, again, I'm looking at sizes. So if it's small enough, I can fit multiple items in a flat rate. I'll do it at under a pound just to help people save on shipping a little bit because I can throw 4 or 5 items into a flat rate. And then, of course, the more people you get into your shows, the better you can be. And you might, if you're small, this is one of the things that we've learned and we've had to adjust how we do things. Like, especially if you're trying to do reduced shipping, I would not do reduced shipping and $1 charge as a small seller. When you get bigger, you can do that because you can pretty much guarantee. What I've figured out just based off of my own flow if I've got less than 30 people in a show, I'm not doing dollar starts. I usually do $3 to $5 starts. When I start getting over 30 people in a show is when I start getting more bids and I can start doing lower starts and get the bids to make up the difference. That's just my personal experience here on Whatnot. Some people will tell you different. My number one goal, though, is I need to at least break even or make a little bit of money. Small margins, yes. That means I'm going to make just a little bit of money into my own pocket on a lot of shows. But I'm trying to grow the following more than make a lot of money. I see a lot of people starting their items at $10, $15, $20 and then getting upset because they get no bids. And then other people show the exact same item. They start it for like $5, $3 to $5, and then they get enough bids to get over that 20. Because once people start bidding, then they're more likely to bid. But it's hard to get people to start bidding. And especially when you see, $20 plus I'm gonna have to pay $8 for shipping, people are gonna be turned off by that. So you've got to start the bidding as low as you can, um, comfortably. Now, if I sourced an item for $5, I'm not going to start it at $3. I'll probably start it at 6 or 7. I keep the margin small, but I'm still going to at least cover my sourcing costs. I source mainly through storage units, so I have pennies per item invested. Um, but some people are thrifting, some people are yard selling, some people are going to the flea markets, some people are sourcing, various ways. So once you know what your sourcing cost is, I would not, start it less than your sourcing cost, but then, one, keep that sourcing cost as low as you can. Be careful of what you're sourcing and how much you're paying for what you're getting. But then two, keep those margins small. I'm gonna start. I don't like starting $1 just because on top of that you're gonna have a listing fee. You're gonna have shipping supplies. But if I started at $2 or $3, so if I start something, if I buy something for $5 and then I start it for 8, it's kind of high for me. But that's at least going to cover my whatnot fees. It's going to cover my shipping supplies, and I'll make a little bit of money. But what I see is people source something for $5 and then they want to start it at 10 or 15. So they're doubling or tripling what they sourced it for. And then they're getting no bids. So you want to keep that bid as low as you comfortably can, but still give yourself a little bit of room for covering your own costs and putting a little bit of money in your pocket. Again, I'm a volume seller. My goal is not about how much do I make per item, it's how much do I make overall. Overall, I spent say $300 on a storage unit. If I can then make 900 in sales off of that, then I'm doing okay because I'm making a little bit of money, I'm covering all my costs, and I'm putting a little bit of money in my pocket. But again, like, the other thing is don't look at your sales and say, "Oh, look, I made $1,000 today." If you make $1,000 in sales, you didn't make $1,000. You sold $1,000 worth of revenue, but how much did you cost in sourcing it, paying for the gas to transport it, storing it, shipping supplies? So honestly, if I make $1,000 in sales, I probably made about $100 that goes in my pocket. That's about 10% margins, which is standard from a lot of the sellers I've talked to. 10 to 15% margins is pretty standard for the people that I'm talking to at the end of the day after all your um, costs are accounted for. So once you understand that, it's just running your numbers and realizing, okay, if I need to make $150 in my pocket, then I've got to sell, $1,500 worth of stuff of sales. So once you know that, it's just setting your goals based on, okay, this is what I got to sell. And then, like, I'd like to set my goals not based off of things I can't control, like is how many sales or how I see people saying, oh, I have to make XYZ dollars today. Well, you really can't control that when you're small. You have a little more influence when you get bigger, but you really never control it. The audience does. So I like to set goals that I can control. So my goal is I'm going to show 100 items today. I'm going to show 200 items today because I can control how many items I show. I can't control how many of them sell or what they sell for. So I'm setting my goals based off of that. Or, or time. You know what? I did, when I first started, I was doing like hour and a half shows. Then I set a goal to run my shows for 3 hours. And I started doing that. And so then after 3 hours, whatever we've sold, we've sold. Or I set it by, you know what, I'm going to show at least 150 items, 200 items. Because I know just based off of my experience, if I show 150 items, I'll probably sell 40 to 50% of those items. And out of those, some of them will get multiple bids and some of them will get one bid. Everything I show, I assume it's going to sell for my starting bid at my size. Because a lot of times, whatever I show, I get one, maybe two bids. But then when you get those items, if you get the right people, it only takes two people to make an auction, but you never know. The more people you have, the more chances you're going to have the right two people. That's where the numbers. And I would care more about how many people are coming to my show than how many followers I have. Once you get over 1,000 followers, which is required to unlock certain features in Whatnot, getting that 1,000 followers is a huge step in Whatnot because it unlocks features for you. Once you pass that, how many followers you have doesn't matter. What matters is how many people are coming to your show. How many people are you keeping in your show? Because I see people with 10,000 followers that get less people in their shows than I do. And I see people with less than 1,000 followers that have more people than I do. So it's how many people are you keeping in your show? And that's not something you can totally control, but remember, this is something I talk about all the time, and I say this almost every week. We are here to sell stuff, but we're also here to entertain, at least a little bit. If you're entertaining and you're selling good product, one, the quality of your product is going to determine how much money you make. If you're selling low end product, you're going to get low end bids, and it's going to be harder to sell. But if you've got high end product, or if you're getting the better the product you can source for the cheaper the price, the better you're going to do. All of the big sellers, if you look at all the big sellers, a lot of them are selling really high end stuff at cheap prices. And some people are like, well, they can afford to do that because of where they're at. Some of them, it's because that's how they got to where they are as quickly as they did, is because they were able to source that stuff and sell it cheap. The other thing is, and many of the big sellers disagree with me on this, but never put all your eggs in one basket, including Whatnot. I love Whatnot. I think it's a great platform, but it should not be your only selling platform. You should be selling on multiple platforms. Um, whether it's the Bay, YouTube, your own website, you need multiple platforms. You don't want all of your business in one place because Whatnot can change their rules overnight and put you out of business tomorrow. That being said, the other side of that is I do believe in that diversification. At the same time, I believe in learning one platform at a time, maybe two. Get good, get your sales built up on one platform, build up your sales on another platform, and then start diversifying and adding new platforms as you get comfortable with a new platform. Because you have a lot to learn. Every platform I've been on has been different. You have different rules, you have different ways that people sell, you have different ways that people are going to do it. So, if you're a brand new reseller, period, and you're not selling on any other platforms, don't have super high expectations from Whatnot right off the bat, and don't expect it to replace your income. But know what your numbers need to be. For example, I know we got to make. If I can make $3,000 a month in our pocket, that covers all of our bills, and we're good to go because I know what my personal numbers are. So I know in order to do that, going back to the 10% rule we talked about earlier, in order to do that, I need to sell $30,000 worth of stuff every month on Whatnot to meet that goal. And I'm not even meeting that goal right now. That's one of my goals that I'm trying to work towards. We're getting closer. We're getting better every week. Part of it's where I need to do more shows. I need to do more selling. I need to show up more. And as our show grows, we're going to make more per show. When I first started, my first few shows, we were lucky if we sold $20 worth of stuff. In fact, my first few shows, because I did boost the shows and then I was doing giveaways, I lost money on my first few shows. It cost me more to run those shows than what we sold. But I had to build a following. I had to build the audience. Now we're getting to the point where we're net positive on almost every show. It may not be much, but we make at least a little bit every show after all the expenses are covered. Let's run another giveaway. This is going to be uh, another. We'll do this one as a sticker pack. We got sticker packs, and we'll do a random sticker pack out of our sticker bin. Whenever I find stickers in in storage units, packets of stickers, we throw them into a bin and we use them as giveaways. We use them as we run them as lots every once in a while if it builds up too much. Stickers, keychains, small items, we like to keep those stuff and set them aside for doing giveaways with. Um, and that's one of the other things. Instead of, you see a lot of people do really high end giveaways, and that's great if you can afford to do that. If you've got the sales, you've got the margins, but you don't have to do high end stuff. I do try to make sure it's valuable stuff. I try not to just give away crap, but I do try to give away stuff that, if I think it's worth, at least $3 to $5 stuff, uh, is what I try to do my giveaways with. Um, yeah, so. But there's a lot to whatnot. There's a lot of growth. We've grown a lot. I've learned a lot. I source better now because I'm looking specifically for things. I'm looking for some of those things, and it's not like this unit we just bought. One of the reasons we liked the unit was there was one piece of furniture in the entire unit. I'm looking more and more at units that don't have furniture; that just have boxes. The more boxes and the less furniture, the better it is for me. At the same time, some of the higher end units that have some of the higher end stuff are going to have furniture in them. So can't be afraid of furniture, but I used to look for units with furniture. I used to buy units with nothing but furniture. But that stuff doesn't sell on Whatnot. It would be a pain to sell, it would be expensive to ship. So if I'm sourcing specifically for Whatnot, then I got to source more boxes. And I'm looking for vintage. I'm looking for signs of vintage. We picked up a unit, the one we picked up last week, Tuesday. For those of y'all that were in our show, we found a lot of old vintage Buddha brass stuff. This guy was, I don't know if he was Buddhist or if he was Christian, because there was a lot of Catholic stuff, there was a lot of Christian stuff, but there was also a lot of Buddhism stuff in the unit. Um, but he had a collection of both. Yeah, you bought from that show, Melissa. It was a cool show. It was also a very vintage unit, and I knew because I saw a ton of dust in the unit. That unit had not been touched in years. My next show is on Tuesday. We'll be finishing some. We'll be doing some unboxing from that unit. I've got about 5 or 6 boxes, but most of those are books and records, so I didn't go through them on my last live unboxing. But we also picked up a 10x40 unit with over 160 cases. And we got rid of a bunch of the cases, just going through stuff that was obvious trash. Um, Getting ready to do a unit in a couple of days. Yeah, I just emptied a unit 2 days, the last couple of days. It was a 10x40 unit, but it wasn't fully packed. And we still got over 160 cases. There was one piece of furniture in the entire unit. The rest of it was all boxes. Um, and there was a bunch of trash, but there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff I don't know how it's gonna sell because I found a bunch of just based off of what was open, because I haven't even gone through the boxes, but I looked. We look at the boxes that are open. There was a bunch of computer stuff from the 80s. And I know some of that stuff is collectible, some of that stuff isn't, and I don't know anything about computers from the 80s. Software, uh, computer manuals, computer parts, all that kind of stuff, all from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. So, y'all getting the giveaway. It's going to go in just a minute. But, it's going to be. We also got the unit dirt cheap. Probably part of it was because of the size of the unit. And, it was a mostly empty for the size of the unit. Honestly, most of it would have probably sit in a 10x10 unit, and it was in a 10x40. So they probably cleared out most of their best stuff. But there's also boxes of personal stuff that I haven't even sorted through. There's definitely vintage stuff in there. Some of that we will be unboxing. Some of it we may set aside. We do have the upcoming trash train, so y'all bookmark that show. We're coming into the trash train on Black Friday at the end of this month, and we've got a couple of other raid trains. We've been in the impromptu raid train, bouncing around, doing one item sales, and then raiding to the next person. That's going on right now. Uh, Big boy, congratulations! Hello, Gator Mom. So, but we've been having fun. We do love doing Whatnot. We're enjoying it. We are growing. We are learning every show. We're trying to improve our processes. Like I said, one of the things we found is with where we're at for most of our shows right now, we're doing really well with the $3 to $5 starts. I really don't like starting over $5, and with my sourcing costs, I'm still making a little bit of money at that. Um, but that also helps cover my shipping supplies. It helps cover if I guess wrong on the weights. Sunglasses, Gucci, Dior, and some other brands. What's the advice on? Um, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with finding that kind of stuff, so I may not be the best one for advice on how to sell it. I do find a little bit of stuff. I would find somebody that can authenticate it. It is against Whatnot's terms of service, even if you unknowingly sell fakes. It is against terms of service, and you can get blocked and banned for that. People will report you for selling a fake, even if you sold it thinking it was real. So, if you don't know enough to, even a lot of the fakes have serial numbers. Though that's one of the things they do when they authenticate it is check the serial numbers and verify that they're valid serial numbers. Um, And I don't know how they do all that. I mean, there's some sites that can do it for you. But, we also, I have not found a lot of that. Like, I found a few coaches, and I can go on coach's website and look up the serial number and verify that the serial number matches. Um, but I don't know other brands and what their systems are set up. Uh, Take it to a pawn shop. Some pawn shops can authenticate it, some can't. So you have to be careful. I don't know the pawn shops in your area. Most of your higher end pawn shops have the ability to authenticate. They can also tell a lot of them because they deal with them all the time. They can tell almost just by looking at them if they're fakes or not. Like I know, like with Louis, they never cut the Louis Vuitton logo. So if it's got stitching along the logo, it's a fake. Um, that's one of the things I've learned just from talking to people that do them a lot. I've learned a few little things like that can you look at, but I do not know, and I would not trust the authentication. It's one of the things in my show notes. Most of the time on my live unboxings, it says any of those luxury items that we find. One, I'm not authorized to be a luxury seller here on the app, and two, if I find any luxury items, I will not sell it without authenticating it. Um, there's a quiz. One, I think you have to have a certain number of sales. If you go into your seller status in your menu, it says it tells you what your qualifications are to sell luxury items. And then there's like some kind of a quiz. I haven't done it myself, so I don't know what the questions are on the quiz. But there is a quiz that you go through to get authorized to do luxury categories here on Whatnot. And then I see some sellers, as those of us in the storage unit finds category, I see some sellers that do sell luxury, but they don't sell it as luxury. They sell it just as whatever the item is, as a high quality version of whatever item. So, like, I've seen people sell purses that were marked as Louis, and they'll say, hey, it's a high quality purse. That's all I'm going to tell you. We've been on Whatnot. I've been on Whatnot technically for a year. We started in October, but I honestly started selling in June. I did my first show in October of last year, but then I didn't do another show until June of this year. We've been selling on other platforms. We've been doing other things. We're selling locally, you know, and I've even gotten a lot of my local customers on Whatnot. I've got a lot of people that buy from me locally that are now buying on Whatnot, and not just buying from me. They're going to other people's shows and buy, and then they blame me for them spending money on Whatnot. But I've even got some of my family, some of my daughter's caregivers. For those of y'all new to us, our daughter has cerebral palsy. So that's part of why we don't do more shows, because life is chaotic with her. We never know what things are going to happen. Um, but it's also why we sell this way, because it allows us to have a flexible schedule where we can take care of her and prioritize her needs. And I'm not. Hi, Lydia. I'm not. all about, the hustle grind, make all the money you can. That's not me. Uh, as long as we can make enough money from selling this stuff to pay our bills, which we're getting better at, and we're trying to get to where I have multiple streams, multiple platforms that are each bringing in enough to pay our bills, so that if I lose one, we're not going to be stressed out. Um, but as long as I can pay my bills and make a little bit of extra to put aside for retirement and take care of a little bit of extra stuff, and that's after taxes and everything. We have to pay our taxes. We have to do all the legal stuff, and all the business expenses. But if I can make enough to pay all of my bills, pay all my business expenses, I'm okay. I'm not out to get rich or to make millions of dollars doing all this stuff. What is my goal? And so, honestly, right now, my goal is to get to 30,000 a month in sales. I am nowhere near that right now, because that's again. We talked about margins earlier. Um, most of the sellers I talk to are running about 10 to 15% margins. As far as if you sell $1,000, you're going to make about $100 to 150. Um, yeah, it'll happen. It's just showing up, continuing to show up, trying to be more consistent about showing up. We now have a travel bag. This last trip to Dallas, we wound up buying a bunch of stuff. We basically broke even once we accounted for all the extra stuff we had to buy, because we bought all of a whole setup for doing shows. But now we're also set up for doing shows, and we have a travel bag with our entire selling kit. So I've got tape dispenser, tape, an extra thermal printer that lives in that bag. Um, all the shipping stuff that I need. Yeah, we live in Texas. We live just south of Austin, but our daughter has some of her specialists in Dallas. But now we have a travel kit, so when we're traveling to Dallas to see specialists, if we find a unit or if we go do thrifting or whatever, we can do a show while we're there. Um, so that makes our business mobile, and it also makes the trip a business write-off. Yep, we bought the travel kit the last time we went to Dallas. So we did buy a unit while we were there. Part of it's because we were supposed to be there for 2 days and then come home, and we wound up being there for 2 weeks. So while we were there, we bought a unit. We cleaned out the unit. We wound up donating about 80% of the unit. We did bring some of it back, but we fit as much as we could into our car. Our car was packed to the gills to get back home, and then we donated whatever we couldn't fit in the car. Um, and then we sold. We did in 2 shows while we were there. We sold a bunch of stuff. We made more than what we paid for the unit, and we made back the money that we spent on the travel kit doing those 2 shows. So now we have a to-go kit that's paid for. Thinking about going to my family in Cleveland and selling. Might be better sourcing. It might be. I mean, I don't know. I'm from Harrison, Arkansas. Technically, that's where I was born, but I left Arkansas when I was like 6 months old. So I've been there to visit a few times. I got an uncle though that lives in Little Rock, um, and a lot of my mom. That's my dad's brother. He just moved there because his job moved him there. But my mom's side of the family, many of whom I only know through social media, but they live all around Arkansas. Um, but most of them I don't know. I haven't met most of them, so had to look in the mail. Hey, Death Bright. Had to look at the map. Yeah, Harrison is in the northeast, kind of Arkansas, and that's where I was born. But again, I was born there and then moved away when I was 6 months old. So, um, and never been back to Harrison. I've been back through Arkansas a few times, but I've never been back to Harrison since I left there when I was 6 months old. I live in Walmart land. Yep. Yeah, that must be around West Memphis. I was a truck driver for a year and a half, and I went to truck driving school in West Memphis, Arkansas. That was a long time ago, though. That was back in the 90s. Bentonville? Yep. I've been to Bentonville. I've been to the big Walmart. I've been to the corporate headquarters, and I've been to the big distribution center there in Bentonville many times. So, but it's been great coming and chatting and hanging out, guys. I am gonna have to go. I've got a lot of stuff to get done today. I'm gonna try to find who we're gonna raid today, real quick. But we are doing, a lot of shows. We got more shows coming up. Make sure you bookmark our upcoming raid trains. We are gonna be. We're gonna go raid the Maple Train. So for those of y'all that came in later, we jumped into this raid train. It was just kind of an impromptu raid train where we're going in, selling one item, and then raiding out to the next person. And they're making the train up as they go. And it's been a fun trip. I've made a lot of new people, and we're gonna go raid them real quick. Hey, Alyssian. Vibrance of the Vines. We're gonna go raid Vibrance of the Vines. Text. What the heck? Maybe they want to miss a Jane. Oh my goodness. All right, we're trying to find the right maple. Man, cannot find the right train. All right, we're just gonna rand out, I guess. I guess we're just gonna do a random raid because I can't find the raid train and I cannot see. Oh my gosh, y'all! Technical issues. Ah, yeah, this is all part of the fun. Technical issues kill me.
Here you go. Here's some glasses so you can see. Here. 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 Can you see better now?
No.
Well, that doesn't help.
Did I kill the train? I'm not finding it now. All right. Well, it's evidently not going. I'll have to find out what's going on. All right, we're gonna just round cancel. All right. Let's see who's running. Who's running? Who's running? Small sellers. Here we go. Let's go to Sam. All right, here we go. We're gonna raid Sam. Y'all have a great day. We'll see y'all next time.